Well, it actually got pitched in this really weird way in the title. It was first called The Assassination of Malcolm X. And I had said to Michael Moran, the artistic director of the Oakland Theater Project, we should have William as Malcolm and shoot him. And I thought that it was a joke, and he said it was a great idea and that we were going to do it. And I was like, oh my God. But I think that the dream life of Malcolm X, one of the things that allows us to do is to reconstitute the world as he felt it. Not as sort of like how other people have defined it, but how his ideas might have come into being, how he might have felt well-known speeches that he might have felt in really different ways, in different contexts. And that allows us to see the whole and the totality of the life as it sort of floats along, instead of being caught up in sort of biopic aesthetics. I think that was one of the things that we said very early when we got in this pod together. We did not want biopics, we did not want trauma drama, that we wanted something else. And a dream is a way of doing that, and also a challenge, because the dream has always belonged to King. And so looking at Malcolm in terms of a dream is a different lens, a different way of seeing him politically, but also as a human being as well. I think one of the things this play is about violence. The actor who's playing Malcolm X, the director, and I sat and we talked for a very long time about violence and about what Malcolm X believed and what he thought. And one of the things that we came to, and I think it's absolutely true, that everything that we talk about, systemic violence, the idea of systemic violence, really Malcolm was more of he was an activist, but he was also more than that. He was a philosopher. It was really laying the groundwork for how we think about the world now. And you can look at certain European philosophers like Althusser, who has the theory of interpolation, or Zizek, and what they say about violence. And it really does feel, along with them, that Malcolm is the architect of our thinking in the present day, thinking that's been really necessary in sort of understanding what's going on in our world, what's happening to all of us, and the violence that is being sort of returned to in really horrible ways. And so one of the ways in which we look at Malcolm is as a thinker, and as a thinker who had created an entire way of thinking, an entire way of perceiving the world. So that's very exciting. What else is it about? It's about Malcolm. And in my mind, and I think in the mind of William, and I think in the mind of Dawn, he's an incredibly beautiful human being. And I don't mean that in the way that you say, oh, I like my friend Jason, he's an incredibly beautiful human being. I mean in the way that he reacts to the world, in the way that he thinks about the world, and the way that he perceives the world. It's really beautiful, and it's kind. And for all the talk that around him around violence, and the fact that he wouldn't give up on violence as a political response to the violence that African Americans were suffering over and over and over again, you do feel this sort of overarching beauty, this incredible sense of a kind man, a man who wants to live in a kind world, and he wants to think kindly of other people, and he just can't because of the way the world is constituted, and especially America, because this is also a play about America. It's a production about America, both America of Malcolm's time and the America of this moment too. Everyone should come and see this play. I mean, well, I'm going to say something that might seem a little controversial because I'm just moving, just saying things now. But one of the things that I'm so proud about this play, and about sort of how it was conceived and how it has grown to be produced, is that there's a lot of African American plays that we can look at, but this is one play that does not need the white gaze. That doesn't mean that white audiences and Asian audiences and everyone won't enjoy it. I think they'll enjoy it very much. but it's a play that is sort of primarily from an African American point of view and sees things in those ways, not in a myopic way, not in a narrow way, but in a way that it doesn't, in the way that Malcolm X talked about the world and sort of like the self-sufficiency and the understanding of what it means to gain control of your life. That is, I think, one of the most important things. And I think that's going to be, to me, it's not only political, but it's aesthetic. And so that when everyone comes and sees this play, what they'll get a sense is the incredible assurance that an African American vision brings to America, and what that means, and how that vision is both ethical and moral and aesthetic, and can teach us how to live, and teach us how to be, and teach us how to think, and make us better, but also shock us in a way, because it's in some sense, when you're dealing with Malcolm X, you have to deal with the shocking aspects of his vision.